Welcome to the Astrology of the Atlanta Braves. My name is Cesar Love. I am the author of Baseball and Astrological Sightline. In this presentation, I'm going to be talking about the correspondences between the signs of the zodiac, the planets of the solar system, and the positions of a baseball team. I'm also going to be talking about the Atlanta Braves, their birth chart, and their history from an astrological perspective. I'm going to be focusing on the moment that Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record back in 1974. But first, I'm going to talk about the larger picture of baseball. Baseball is a curious thing. We think of it as a game, we think of it as a sport, we think of it as our national pastime here in the United States, but it is so much more. We like to think that its origins are here in the United States. We have the myth of Abner Doubleday having invented baseball, but its origins are much more complex. In fact, the game or versions of the game have been played as a ritual for thousands of years on all continents. Here is a picture of a pharaoh about to hit a ball with a bat. This shows you how deep in human history the game of baseball is. In fact, the game was not a game in its origin. It was a fertility ritual. Rituals in which balls were hit with bats have been played all over the world, and these rituals were designed to ensure that the crops would grow and that the animals would thrive and that spring would bring abundance. The stars and planets are also involved. Each position has a correspondence with the sign of the zodiac and a planet of the solar system. I will go through each of them. The sign of Aries and the planet Mars correspond with the position of the shortstop. The shortstop requires quick, short bursts of energy. This is the energy of Mars and Aries. The shortstop's quintessential play is the one where he charges forward to field a slow roller. Here, the shortstop charges unrestrained. This play taps the energy of Mars and Aries. The sign of Taurus and the planet Venus correspond to the center fielder. Center field carries a special mystique for baseball fans. Just think of the song, "Put Me in, Coach, I'm Ready to Play Center Field." This mystique exists because center field is the position whose energy is closest to the sensibility of the game. Taurus is a sign of plants and vegetation. The center fielder stands in the middle of a field with a wide expanse of green to his left and to his right. Taurus is a sign of fertility. In the grass of center field, we witness the renewal of spring, and we feel the original roots of the game as a fertility ritual. The sign of Gemini and the planet Mercury are embodied in the pitcher. Gemini is a mental sign. In battle, a Gemini's best weapon is one's ability to cleverly outsmart the opponent. The pitcher engages in a mental, more so than a physical battle with the batter. The pitcher's intent is to outsmart the batter by throwing the ball at him. The variety of trajectories, velocities, and placements. Cancer and the moon correspond with the position of the catcher. As Cancer and the moon protect our homes, the catcher guards over home plate. And think of the catcher's equipment, the chest protector, the shin guards, the mask. These are shell-like accoutrements. The catcher wearing these very much resembles a crab. Cancer and the moon also rule over home plate, the fans who are having an emotional Cancer experience, stadiums, and the home city. The sign of Leo and the sun correspond to the right fielder. Usually, right field is the sunniest part of the baseball park, and right fielders have the sunniest of personalities. Like Leos, right fielders love attention. They have that star-like quality that lets them bask in adoration. The sign of Virgo and the planet Mercury correspond to the pitcher. There are Virgo pitchers and there are Gemini pitchers, and there are many that are both, since Mercury lords over both signs. Their difference is that a Gemini pitcher will more likely try to overpower a batter with his speed, whereas a Gemini pitcher will do battle with his control and precise placement of his pitches. A Virgo pitcher is also more likely to take advantage of the analytical data about a batter's tendencies, since Virgo rules the analytical part of the mind. Libra and Venus correspond to the second baseman. As Libra is the sign of balance and symmetry, think of second base as the balance point within the diamond that divides the right and left sides of the infield. And think of the incredible balance that a second baseman must have. The quintessential play of the second baseman is the double play that is performed when a runner is charging at him, trying to disrupt his throw to first base. The second baseman leaps straight into the air to avoid the runner. He throws the ball to first base without having one's feet on the ground. The second baseman is able to make this play because of the refined equilibrium that second basemen and Libras are known for. The sign of Scorpio and the planet Pluto correspond to the third baseman. The third baseman is positioned closer to the batter than the other infielders, so he receives a batted ball with a tremendous force. The third baseman absorbs an extreme amount of energy. He is able to do this because his sign, Scorpio, is a highly pressurized water sign. The third baseman absorbs the force, then fires it right back to throw out the runner. Think of the person who takes a punch and then gives one right back. It's like the act of revenge that Scorpios are known for. Third base works much the same way. The ability to take that ball, hit at you at 100 miles an hour, and just return it. Throw that runner out. Sagittarius and the planet Jupiter correspond with the batter. Think of the batter's bat as an extension of the centaur's bow and arrow. Instead of aiming his arrow at a star, he is swinging his bat at the ball and hoping to hit it to an auspicious place. Jupiter is the planet of hope. With every at-bat, the batter embodies his hopes, the hopes of his team, and the hopes of his fans. The sign of Capricorn and the planet Saturn correspond with the manager. Capricorns have the qualities of age, wisdom, and decisiveness. These are qualities associated with good managers. Managers can be the wise, sagely father figure in the dugout, but they can also be the old fart who gets in the way of players' fun or development. Both of these are facets of Saturn and Capricorn. The sign of Aquarius and the planet Uranus correspond to the left fielder, and Aquarius strives to be objective. Aquarius is the sign most able to see the big picture, and a left fielder needs this ability to track the trajectory of baseballs in flight. He also needs to sense the air currents. Whether it's a day game or a night game, these are necessary Aquarian intelligences. Also, many Aquariuses get told, "You're out in left field," when they do something or say something considered odd or not mainstream. This is a very Aquarian and Uranian expression to be told, "You're out in left field." Aquarius and Uranus also correspond to the home run. Think of the all-encompassing arc of a ball hit high and above everything. It has a Uranian quality of air travel. The home run also embodies the do-it-yourself individualistic side of Aquarius. A home run is self-reliant. His hitter does not need another batter to bring him home. Babe Ruth had the sun in Aquarius. Hank Aaron, who I will talk about later, has several planets in Aquarius. The sign of Pisces and the planet Neptune correspond to the first baseman. A Pisces has an ability to absorb emotional and psychic vibrations. Similarly, the first baseman's role is to receive and absorb. He gathers the throws from other infielders, whether they are to the side, in the dirt, or over his head. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and a play often ends at first base. Similarly, a lot of veteran players end their careers as first basemen. Also, the first baseman's glove has an interesting resemblance to the gill of a fish. Here we see the archetype of Pisces, the fish, the only animal that has a gill, right there in the first baseman's glove. Well, maybe not in it, but on it. Now, each baseball team, well, let me say each Major League Baseball team has an astrological birth chart that I've cast from the date it was born. I'm going to be talking about the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves were born on January 20th, 1871. They originally lived in Boston. Then they would move to Milwaukee. Then they would move to Atlanta. But here is a picture of the 1871 Boston Red Sox, who are their antecedents. And here is their birth chart. The striking thing about their birth chart is they have 4 bodies in Capricorn and 4 bodies in Aquarius. And what I want to emphasize is that this birth chart is a vehicle for social change, that both the energy of Uranus and the energy of Saturn are both present when lasting social change occurs. Uranus is the liberator, the one who breaks the established order, and Saturn is often the established order, but a new order needs to be reestablished after the liberation has happened. And that's the energy of Saturn that's happened here. I want to point out that the Braves have an extremely afflicted moon. Their moon is in Capricorn. Usually moon does not like Capricorn because it stifles the emotions, but here there's more going on than that. It's not just in Capricorn, it's opposed by Uranus, which is the dispositor of the sun in Aquarius. You've also got Saturn conjunct the south node, which further gives a Saturnian quality to the moon. And you've got the moon is very close to the sun. It's very, very late in the lunar cycle. It's in the balsamic phase. It's also conjunct to Mercury, and it's square to Uranus. So it's holding a lot of energy from these outer planets, both Uranus and Neptune, and it's got that Saturn on the south node. So this moon is very burdened. There's like it's stifled. Same time, it's holding this energy of social change that's about to burst forth. But before that could happen, the Braves have a odd history in that they haven't always been about social change. In fact, they've been kind of a reactionary force. The reserve clause began with this organization. The reserve clause, for those of you who don't know, was an anomaly in labor law that occurred for a long time in sports. And that's where a team would, when it signed players, the contracts would state that this player is bound to play only for this team for the life of their career. They cannot play for another team unless they are traded or unless their services are sold to the other team. So this is an anomaly in labor law, and it's interesting that this occurred after the Civil War, after the slaves were freed. Something close to slavery reemerged with this organization, and that this was a vehicle for that. The moon often represents labor, represents the masses of humanity in an astrological chart. And here the moon is shackled by being so close to the sun and opposed to Uranus. Uranus here is not a liberator. Uranus here is at this point is actually coming up with new tools to enslave the moon, new tools to enslave labor. That's what happened when this team invented the reserve clause. And then it went on to actually be the first team to buy the services of another player when it purchased the services of Mike King Kelly from the Chicago White Stockings around the same time. So very, very clever use of master's tools to keep the players, to keep labor in a kind of chain, in a kind of slave situation. It's not exactly slavery, but it's very parallel to that. And this occurred with the Atlanta Braves. I want to add more. This moon is extremely afflicted. This has been a hard team for the fans. As labor, as the moon rules the fans, this team has uprooted itself twice. It moved from Boston to Milwaukee in the 1950s, and then in the 1960s it moved from Milwaukee to Atlanta. These kinds of things are really heartbreaking for fans. So as the moon rules the fans, this is a tough team to root for. There have also been horrible tragedies to catchers that have happened with the Braves organization. In 1900, Marty Bergen, who was a Braves catcher, would leave the team without leave, without permission. He would just take off and go home. Horrible things were happening because his son had died, and he said that the players on the team were reminding him of his son. And then in the off season, he actually shot the rest of his wife and his other kids. So, and then he shot himself. So this is a repressed moon acting out, a repressed moon in Capricorn, plus with all these other afflictions. So tragedies to catchers have happened. It's an offshoot of this repressed moon in Capricorn that's shackled by, the opposition to Uranus and the square to Neptune. Here's a picture of Hank Aaron I'm going to talk more about. This is him at age 17 on his way to glory. You can see the intensity in this young man's face, the fear, at the same time, the determination. He's about to get on that train and go into the minor leagues, and don't know if he sensed his destiny at that point, but here his bags are packed. He's going to be on his way. And let me show you his birth chart. Hank Aaron
Probably the proudest moment in the history of the Braves franchise was Hank Aaron breaking Babe Ruth's record. Hank Aaron, an African American who, under death threats, told he had no right to break a white man's record, received a lot of hate mail. His family was threatened, he was threatened, but yet he had the strength, not only as a player, but as an individual, as a person who knew he had a mission and he had to do it, and he was not going to let people get in his way. This person is very determined. You can see the strength in this man's character by looking at his birth chart. Here is his Saturn conjunct the Sun, conjunct the North Node. This is someone who is determined, who is just going to go about his mission. That the Sun, your center of consciousness, has this Saturnian quality of like, okay, I'm not flashy, I'm not going to do it all at once. I'm going to be methodical and slowly, step by step, get up to the top of that mountain. This is what Hank Aaron did. He was not a flashy player. He was not a showboat. I have him down as Taurus rising. I rectified his chart. Not totally convinced I have it correct, but I'm pretty sure he's Taurus rising. Whether this is the correct degree, I'm not yet sure. However, here he is, a home run hitter, one of the greatest home run hitters of all time. And you can see he's got 5 bodies in Aquarius: Venus, the Sun, Saturn, the North Node, and Mercury, all in Aquarius, the sign of the home run hitter. He was also a left fielder. The left field is the position of Aquarius. And look at this. Look at this T-square. He's got the moon in Libra conjunct Jupiter opposite Uranus. So he can channel that Uranus energy. He's also got a square from Pluto in Cancer. So he's channeling the energy of 2 outer planets into his moon. So this is someone who's holding the weight of the zeitgeist. Interestingly, not through his sun, but through his moon. A moon in Libra has an innate sense of justice and also a generosity. With the Jupiter here, Jupiter's a mid-planet. So here, this is someone this is the birth chart of someone, I'll say, of greatness. To be able to have a personal planet so close to 2 outer planets plus Jupiter, this is someone who's going to be able to hold an intense amount of energy, be on the world stage, and make something happen. So when he broke Babe Ruth's record, that was a great achievement, for the United States, for the world, and for this individual. You can see in this birth chart, this is the making of someone great. When someone's born with a birth chart like this, something's going to happen. Here's him after he's already established. I believe this is Fulton County Stadium. They're in Atlanta. You can see that face. Looks like Taurus rising. Has sort of a solid bovine kind of feature. Here is the film.
Sitting on 7-14. Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron. The fireworks are going. Henry Aaron is coming around third. His teammates are at home plate, and listen to this crowd. A sellout crowd is cheering Henry Aaron, the home run king of all time. 7-15.
Here's the birth chart of what was going on when this happened. Now look at the Atlanta Braves chart. The key aspect is this T-square from the moon, the afflicted moon, to Uranus, to Neptune in Aries. This happened on April 8th, 1974, with the sun at pretty much close to 19 Aries, exactly conjunct the Braves' Neptune. So he hit it. It unleashes this Neptune energy. you saw in that film, he's embraced by two college students who are white. Interestingly, when he got down the stretch, about to break Babe Ruth's record, he revealed to the country that he was receiving all these racial death threats. At that point, he was embraced. A lot of the country embraced him. It didn't matter what race they were. People felt, a Neptunian love for this person. And him breaking the record unleashed this Neptunian energy. There's also, the Uranus energy and all this pent up frustration of the moon in Capricorn. I think this is also corresponds with the African American experience of Capricorn, of having to endure and struggle and wait for a moment to actually, Martin Luther King talked about the promised land. Well, this moment was a promised land of getting through, of a breakthrough. So let's move on to the next one. I'm getting a little too big. Okay, so here, this is a comparison between the chart of Hank Aaron and Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King also has a combination of Capricorn, Saturnian energy. Here he's got the sun in late Capricorn and he's got Mercury in Aquarius. So I haven't done a thorough study of this, but I'm conjecturing that in African American civil rights leaders, there's a combination of Saturn, Capricorn energy and Uranus, Aquarian energy. Like I said earlier, that both these energies are prominent for lasting social change. Uranus is the liberator. It breaks through the established order. And then you need Saturn to reestablish an order that incorporates new energy. Here's what's going on with the Braves now. Interestingly, the Braves are still a flashpoint for civil rights struggles. Recently, the state of Georgia in this year of 2021 passed laws restricting access to voters. A lot of people said this is a new Jim Crow that's happening. And Major League Baseball responded by withdrawing their granting of the All-Star game. The All-Star game was supposed to be played in the Braves' new stadium this year of 2021. However, it will not be. So it's interesting to see what's going on. At the moment, it was withdrawn. I'm saying the key aspect to this is the square that's going on right now between Uranus in Aquarius to, Saturn in Aquarius to Uranus in Taurus. That's the aspect that we're living under right now, and that's affecting our social struggles right now. Interestingly, Saturn at 11 degrees Aquarius is exactly conjunct the Braves ascendant. So in a way, they've kind of gotten slapped by Saturn right there, by Uranus coming from a square angle. So the social justice movements kind of slapped the Braves in the face, even though they didn't have anything to really do with the voter suppression laws. However, it's not like they said anything outstanding saying that this is wrong. And after the All-Star break was pulled from them, their statement was, well, you're hurting our stadium workers, you're hurting the economy, and you shouldn't be doing that, rather than it being a statement like, well, we also think that voter suppression is wrong. Here are patches of, this was the patch that they were going to be wearing for the All-Star break in 2021. And they're not wearing it. Instead, they're wearing this patch, the Braves' 150-year anniversary. So this concludes my talk on the Braves. Once again, my name is Cesar Love. I'm the author of Baseball and Astrological Sightline. This is my website, baseballastrology.com. If you have any questions, any comments, please email me at baseballastrology@outlook.com. And play ball.